Hello, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. I'm standing here next to a fig tree on Holy Monday. That's what you call Monday of Holy Week. And I'll tell you why in just a minute, but let me first make sure we all understand that within the Christian calendar, which some churches follow very stringently, some churches really don't pay that much attention to them at all. It's kind of it's not a requirement, if you will, biblically, to pay attention to Holy Week, but it's still a useful thing to do. And so Holy Week is seen to start with Palm Sunday, which was yesterday, which is the celebration and remembrance of Jesus's triumphal entry into Jerusalem. And during Holy Week, of course, we have Good Friday, which is the day of the crucifixion, followed by Easter Sunday, which is the resurrection. So during this week, the church for thousands plus years have celebrated different events on different days. And I thought I'd use these video thoughts for the day this week to look at some of these reflectively. And so today is Holy Monday. Now, one of the events that happened on that Monday of Holy Week is one that centers on a fig tree. And Jesus is in Bethany, which is right outside Jerusalem. That's where he would stay the night and go into Jerusalem during the day. Jesus is there and he's hungry and he sees a fig tree. And he goes over to the fig tree and sees there's leaves, but no fruit, much like this fig tree right here. Leaves, no fruit. And it's not even the time of fruit for fig trees. It was March, April, like it is right now here, March, about to turn to April. And we just had a hard freeze about a month or so ago, and we're blessed to have these leaves coming out, but we don't have the fruit yet. And if we did have fruit, it would be too green to really eat. It doesn't ripen until about June. It's not that much different in the Holy Lands and in Jerusalem. And so you shouldn't expect fruit, but Jesus goes, and when he doesn't see fruit there, he curses the fig tree of sorts. He says, may no one ever eat fruit from you again. And a little bit later, they go by the same fig tree, and the disciples see that the fig tree is totally withered from the roots. And they're like, whoa, who is this man that even the fig trees wither, when he curses them? That's the story. And you read this story and you think, what on earth is going on? Because there's got to be something more to it than just Jesus going up to this poor, helpless fig tree that didn't do anything to anybody. It's not even time for it to bear fruit. And just because Jesus is hungry and it doesn't have fruit, Jesus curses it, it withers, and it dies. You say, well, that's not very nice. The story has greater significance. And it's that significance I want to talk about briefly. The story, as it's told in Mark 11, has an indication that Jesus is fulfilling a prophecy with this. And it's interesting to read scholars because some will say, oh, it's this prophecy in Jeremiah, or no, it's this prophecy in Hosea, or this prophecy in Zechariah. No, I think there are a number of prophecies that are fulfilled here. There are a number of prophetic statements of judgment that's coming. And one of my favorites to look at in light of this is in Micah 7. And in Micah 7, it talks about how God is coming, but the people are due judgment. Judgment is due upon the people, and the people's judgment will be brought by God. And you say, yeah, but this is judgment on this poor little fig tree that didn't do anything. Yes, it is. Because Jesus, the triumph of his entry, the triumph of Holy Week, centers on the judgment of God. But the judgment of God is not pronounced upon those of us who rightly deserve it. The judgment of God is pronounced upon one that has no reason to be judged at all. It's Jesus himself. Jesus hadn't done anything wrong when he incurred the Roman penalty of death for you and for me. But what he did was a cosmic transaction. He paid a debt he did not owe, because we owe a debt we cannot pay. And so he paid our debt. He took our judgment. He took the righteous judgment that he had no more reason in terms of true, what's fair, to bear that judgment than the fig tree did. Yet he did it. And the fig tree is a prophetic expression of what Jesus recognized Holy Week was going to bring about through his death and resurrection. We'll talk about it more this week, but that's a good start for you. And that's your video thought for the day.